Hi, I'm JB, 55-year-old carpenter. It was always in my blood, and I always had a passion for it. And I did it growing up as my first jobs. And it's what bought me my house and fed me and my family. One of the first jobs I remember is building a patio cover for my friend by his pool out in Reseda. And yeah, I was 17 years old or so. And like I said, I have a passion that comes from within, and I just don't want to waste any time. So I utilize my time by doing what I do, creating. Currently I'm working on a place I have in Mexico, Rosarito. Well, I've always liked to surf and fish, so I got myself a little piece of pie in Mexico where I'm on the beach where I get to do both. I have several projects going here, back in Woodland Hills, on my house. The things I'm proud of are building my house, my other place I have in Mexico, and just all the nooks and crannies I've created with my office, gym, greenhouse, etc., etc., etc. The hardest part about being a carpenter is a lot of times figuring out the blueprints, what the engineers and architects are trying to achieve. One that comes to mind was in LA, 2-story fire damage, and yeah, just coming up to standards from a 100-year-old house is quite challenging with what's expected from the city and the engineer. Hopefully I'll be doing this till the day I die. This is what I was born to do, my passion. This is a form of art for me. Gets me up every day, keeps me going, keeps me steady.
Everyone loves food trucks, but no one stops to ask or even wonder, hey, what's it like to even be a chef in one of those? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you about, because this is Tacos Forever. Our chef usually starts his day by taking out the truck and going to today's location. And what's today's location, you ask? Why, it's none other than the Van Nuys 818 Market. After he arrives at the 818 Market, all he has to do now is just wait for someone to order so he can start cooking. But while he waits, let's see what he has to say about this.
Yeah, I like cooking. Actually, it's been my thing always. Been working in a restaurant for almost 20 years. And this is my first vocation. I like to work and I like to see when the people told me that they like my food. And that's my tips. That's one thing that I love about day I cook. I like when people like my food, and that's why I keep doing what I'm doing. I do it with passion. I do it with my heart. because I like it, because I love it. When you do something that you like, you do it with heart.
Wow, he cooks with his heart and soul? That is crazy. I mean, you can obviously tell he puts a lot of love into it. I mean, just look at those nachos. It's making me really hungry just watching him prepare it. Wow. Oh, don't forget the sour cream. Very, very important. It does look good, but just like life, all that food is not easy. Every single day, our chef has to carefully prepare all the meats by himself. He uses a variety of spices just so the meat comes out perfectly. Now then, after all of that preparation, it's finally time to throw the meat on the grill. Our chef has to always make sure the meat isn't too raw or too burned whenever he serves it. And of course, a good chef always makes sure that his grill is clean. Good on you, chef. Hold on, because he is not done yet. Because after he has cooked the meats, now he has to cut them all up. Every single last one. And then put them away in a meat container so they can stay warm and fresh until someone orders. But of course, it's not all just chicken. There is a lot of other meats that we sell. For instance, watch him right now. He's preparing the carne asada. Then the same process, but this time he's using a container. Of course, it's not all just tacos, because from cheesy quesadillas to giant big old burritos, our chef prepares everything amazingly and perfectly. But that does beg the question, does he really love what he's doing?
Well, like I said, I like my job because, first of all, because I'm doing what I like, and I like what I do, and I like when the people smile. I like to see the people smile on the face when they taste my food, and they like it, and they even eat, and they even don't want to take what to go. That means, that's what I know, they really like my food. When they satisfy with my food and they ask for more to go. That's what I know I'm doing a good job. You know, that's my best. That's all my tips.
Well, there you have it. He's just a man who's very hardworking but also loves to cook. He makes amazing food. Don't believe me? Come try it.
Hello there, my name is Stella Fiorello. I am 26 years old, I live in Los Angeles, and I am a freelance illustrator and visual development artist. I work for Moonbug on their Little Angel show. I've also worked for Ravensburger as a board game designer and for Goliath game as a toy designer. So, what really made me want to start drawing, what's kind of influenced me till today as far as like style and media goes, is when I was a kid I really liked Pokemon. I would draw it a lot, and subconsciously I just kind of feel like that stuck with me. A lot of my current art style is very round and bubbly, and a lot of kind of rounded shapes and animals, and a lot of that I feel kind of just has to do with my early influences like Pokemon, Littlest Pet Shop, just kind of like the early anime phase that most artists go through when they're a preteen. A lot of that just never really goes away, and yeah, it kind of leads you to the style that you end up getting. When I was younger, I did not want to be an artist. I liked to draw, but I wanted to train dolphins and swim with dolphins and live on a boat around dolphins. Believe it or not, art is actually what made a lot more sense as a career choice. So the first art form I ever used was obviously crayons and pencils as a kid, but honestly it was Microsoft Paint on the family computer. We had a little laptop, and that was, I guess, my first intro to digital art, and I really loved doing that. I made little Christmas cards for the family, And as a kid, it was just something I did, but I'm still doing that kind of digital art today. I'm trying to get inspiration from things that are a little more nostalgia based for me, make it a little bit more personal. So I look back like old movies I liked and revisiting, old toys I used to like, trying to think like what did young Stella like about all these different things, like such as Littlest Pet Shops, Polly Pocket, old children's movies such as Stella, Luna, and Bartok, and trying to find like as a kid what did I love about these things and what can I put into my current art since I am making art for kids. If there was a dream project that I'd really want to work on, it would have to be if Luca made a sequel. I would absolutely love to be a part of it. Luca is my favorite movie, huge inspiration. If there was ever a Luca 2, or if Disney Lorcana did a Luca set where they needed a Luca illustrations, or if Disney Villainous did an Hercules set where they did the full Luca movie as screen caps, I would be ecstatic to work on any of those projects. Before I started actually professionally pursuing art, I wanted to be a teacher, primarily an early childhood educator, teaching like preschool, kindergarten, somewhere in that age range. I went to college for it and I realized that it was not a good fit at all. Fast forward to today, I find myself, I'm designing toys for preschool age. I'm designing like board games primarily aimed at kids, and I'm currently working with some peers on a pitch for an animated preschool show. So I still find that a lot of that passion that I had for that age range, I still have today, even though it's not in the form of teaching, and that just kind of shows that your passions don't really go away. They might kind of change a little bit and you'll find the correct fit, but that definitely still is part of like who I am today.
Hi, my name is Dr. Schweitzer, and I'm both a nurse and a doctor of chiropractic. My main focus is on chiropractic at this time, but I do still work at a surgery center 1 or 2 days a week for right now. I've been a registered nurse since 2001, so I've been working in the operating room and the recovery room for the PACU, post-anesthesia care unit, since that time, primarily at outpatient surgery centers.
Hello.
I decided to be a chiropractor a few years after I had my own injuries, and I tried all sorts of allopathic medicine, which is basically the medical route that we're used to here in the society, and nothing worked. I tried various things short of surgery, which I didn't want. So I went to one chiropractor, of course being terrified of it. I was 40 years old when I went, and my first time. And it was a good experience. He actually helped me breathe better and decrease some of my pain. I was still having problems, so I went to another chiropractor who completely changed my life with his technique. And shortly after that, I wanted to do something more with my life. And so I decided to be a chiropractor so I could help people the way he helped me. It just was tremendous how he changed my life. And I really wanted to help others too, so they can have that experience. It's more interesting because it's a lot of detective work. I get to figure out what's happening to the patient, what's creating their pain, discomfort, lack of function. And to me, that's very interesting. As an RN, that's not really my job. My job is patient care, which I love to do. However, I don't really have to figure things out, and I feel like by my ability to do so, I'm actually impacting people's lives and helping them to get far better than maybe even before they had whatever happened to them. So it's more interesting to me, I'd say that, more than anything, is the reason why I find chiropractic more interesting than being an RN. My most recent patient had a very bad hip injury.
Initially, several years ago, she had helped me with a lower back issue, and I'm in the construction business, so that comes with its own set of problems and dangers. And then I injured myself on a job. I tore my hip joint. And since I had seen her before and she had done miracles with my lower back, I thought I would reach out to her again and see if that was something that she could address. And she very definitely did. I mean, it literally changed my life. No exaggeration, because I was not able to work. I couldn't move. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Currently, I'm remodeling my practice so I can have new patients come into a different location. And also, I'm working on a website, a membership site, so that people that want to make sure their posture's good so they feel good, and also so they can just talk and hang out with other like-minded people. I have that available with a book and videos, and that's just something I wanted to do to help people further when I can't be with them. Just don't give up on yourself if you feel like you've tried everything, you're still having pain. Just know that there is someone out there that can help you.
Oh yeah, cheers, thanks a lot. Hi, my name is Kirk Bodyfelt. I am an executive producer of media at Walt Disney Imagineering. Disney's been part of my life about as far back as I can remember. When I was 8 years old, we went down to Disneyland. We drove from Oregon for the first time. So that was an amazing experience. That's when I first got to experience all the wonderful attractions and atmosphere of the park. As a teenager, I really got into animation. I really want to learn how it works. So I took a few classes, and using my dad's 8mm film camera, shot a lot of stop motion and claymation shorts. That led to my decision to go into film production and enter USC's film school because of its great reputation. A classmate of mine had temped at Walt Disney Feature Animation the summer before as an animation cell checker. She referred me to them, and soon after graduating, I started as a production assistant on Beauty and the Beast. In fact, the first building I worked in was directly across the street from Imagineering. At the time I joined, Disney Animation was nowhere near as popular as it is these days. In fact, a few years before, they had been actually kicked off the main studio lot and relocated to a bunch of rundown warehouses all over Glendale. Fun fact, the building that housed all the artists for Beauty and the Beast was so small that I actually had my cube in the attic. So luckily, over time, as our films became more and more popular, Disney decided to build us a brand new animation building in Burbank. We all moved in and we loved it. It was a beautiful building, but we still retained all of our great happy memories from living in the warehouses in Glendale. A lot of my time at animation was focusing on the digital elements that were added to traditionally animated films.
You're one big beaver.
A few good examples of this would be the wildebeest stampede during Lion King, the 18-headed Hydra from Hercules, and the 3D painted backgrounds from Tarzan. In 2018, I was invited to join Imagineering. They were starting development of a massive park expansion in one of their Tokyo parks, and it featured 4 attractions that had Walt Disney feature animation characters in it. So I was brought in to help with the collaboration between Walt Disney Feature Animation, who would be producing the media, and Imagineering, which would be designing and developing the attraction itself. My job is to get involved with any of the attractions that feature Disney animated characters or Pixar animated characters. I work with the creative teams very early on to understand creatively what their goals are. We work on a schedule and a budget that works for their plans, and then I work on the connections to both Pixar and Disney so that we can develop the story and the media together for the attraction. When the media production is complete, we enter the final phase, which is installation. This is when the media team goes down to the construction site and we install the media into each scene. My job is to support the team with everything they need in terms of hardware, software, networking, so that every day that they are productive and we can work on integrating the media so it matches the color and lighting that each scene requires. 2 of the most recent attractions that I have completed include Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Disneyland, California, and in Walt Disney World, Florida, as well as digital upgrades to the Mickey's PhilharMagic show in Florida, Tokyo, and Hong Kong. When people ask me what it takes to be an Imagineer, they often have the assumption that you have to have an engineering background, and that is absolutely not true. To create these attractions requires so many different skill sets that everybody comes with their own talents to contribute. My background was animation, so it made sense for me to be focusing on creating the media with our animation partners. I feel very fortunate that I've been able to work with the Disney company for more than 20 years and have 2 completely separate careers that nonetheless complement each other. I'd love to tell you more, but unfortunately, the rest is top secret.
There is a sense of I do feel there is a little bit of pressure that I do feel about having a professional or proper setup for the audition process. It has affected the finances, definitely, and it definitely has affected my time. For one instance, I feel as though like I have to have a reader, you know, and that in and of itself causes problems because not everyone is available to help me read. And so if I have a few pages of dialogue, or dialogue going back and forth, then it kind of hinders me from even doing the audition at all. So it definitely hinders it in that way. And then in terms of time, like I have to now fit my schedule with the other person that's going to be helping me. So if they're not free, even though I'm free, I can't do the audition. Financially, I mean, now I have to research all the stuff that I need for it, and then I have to then buy all of the equipment, whether it's lighting, a backdrop, a stand, a good computer, a good camera to film it on, and then everything the camera needs to film it on is also another expense. So all in all, it's impacted both of those things greatly. Hello, my name is Trevor Bowens, and I am based in Los Angeles, California, and I will be auditioning for the role of Elliot Gray. Well, I would say the rise of self-tapes have changed the audition process for me. I feel like it makes it a lot less personal, and that there's an energy that you kind of feed off when you're performing. So it makes it a little bit harder to perform as opposed to just, acting. Because there's an energy when you're in a room with people, you kind of get feedback without them saying anything or even doing anything. And it kind of changes your performance. To be honest, I see the future staying how it is or continuing on as it is right now. I don't see it going back to a hybrid or going back to in-person, because I feel like just from the opposite side, like the casting director side and stuff like that, I feel like it's probably a much more efficient process, and they're able to get a wider range of people. So considering that, I don't see, but also I don't know that side, but just based off of my assumption, I don't see it changing. But I would definitely advocate for something more hybrid. I'd like to be more in person. I would advocate it to just go back to being in person. But I think I would rather deal with those struggles as opposed of the struggles I deal with doing self-tapes. Because then you get to meet people and have more face-to-face time. And so if I show up in a room with people more than once, it'll be a different experience than when I show up on a self-tape with the same people, because you run into instances where the casting director is on multiple projects and you send in a self-tape to them. I don't think it's the same as if I walk in and greet them twice, you know what I mean? So I would advocate to going back in person.
Hi, my name is Chao Feng, and I'm an international student from China, currently studying here in Los Angeles. Coming here has been a life-changing journey for me. Leaving behind my home, my culture, and everything I'm familiar to pursue something new and unknown. Back in China, life feels much more internet-connected. I lived with my family, saw my friends every day, and was surrounded by a close-knit community. Even strangers sometimes feel like distant relatives. There was always a sense of belonging that wrapped around you. But when I first arrived in the US, especially in Los Angeles, I encountered something I hadn't expected to feel so deeply: isolation. Everyone seems to be living in their own world. Back in China, I had many close friends and family members who were always there for me, especially during moments when I feel down or needed support. Their presence gave me comfort and stability. Here, even when I am surrounded by people, I sometimes still feel invisible. That contrast was striking. At first, I feel like I didn't truly belong anywhere. I constantly questioned myself. Am I doing this right? Am I being too quiet, too foreign, too different? Even after making a few friends. And yes, I've been fortunately to meet some wonderful people. There still seems to be a kind of invisible wall made of language, culture, and unspoken habits. I try my best to reach out and connect. I join clubs, say yes to invites, stay after class to talk, and yet there are days when I walk home with a heavy silence around me. It's not the kind of silence caused by a lack of people, it's the kind that lingers even when you are in a crowd. Still, through all of this, I've grown. I've learned how to be alone without always feeling lonely. I've learned to listen to myself more deeply and to appreciate the small human moments like smell, a simple how is your day, a shared meal. Part of growing up, I realized is understanding that wherever you go, you carry pieces of your past and your home with you. But at the same time, you begin building something new, slowly, painfully, at times, but also beautifully. So, yes, I do feel more isolated here than ever I did in China, but I also feel stronger. I'm self-aware and more open to those who reach out, even just for a moment. And I hope that little by little, I can become someone who helps others feel less alone too.
I know that one of these days bad habits will kill me, but sooner or later we all must pay our debts. No one's immune to the maker, no matter how sorry, no matter how safe, no matter how lucky you are, the landlord needs the rent. But as I lay in my hospital bed, there's not a moment I regret. Take me to your leader and put me in my place, with a little smoke and mirrors and a little bit of faith. I'm the captain of my story, but I'm looking for a mate, a rescue from the needle. Give me just a taste of your amazing grace.
Barquest is a fairly new company. It's only been around for a few years now. It's a mobile dog grooming business. We groom cats. Sometimes we have cats that we groom too. But we kind of just like drive around and we go to house and we groom dogs and and we look pretty. Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. I was working in Beverly Hills as a dental assistant, or assistant to a dental assistant, I guess. And I absolutely hated it. It was the worst. My coworkers there knew that I hated it, and they were always like trying to help me. And then I've been a dog owner for many years, and the receptionist there found out about the Bark Bus, and she told me about it. She's like, apply for it, that way you could, get out of here and do something that you love instead. And so yeah, I applied and I got the job. And it's been almost 2 years now, and I love it. It's great. It's my first time doing mobile grooming. I've been grooming for many years, like over 10 years, but this is my first mobile grooming, and it's great. I love it. Usually in the morning before I leave for my first house, I set up all of my equipment already on the side, so I know what I'm gonna do for the day. So when I get the dog on the table, the first thing we do is I start buffing the nails, then I could clean the ears a little bit, and then I start brushing their teeth if they allow it, or if maybe they don't need a toothbrushing. When I try the dogs, I was trying to lose my hearing. Sometimes we meet in the parking lot job or their office. It doesn't always have to be. at the house, which is really great about, you know, Park West. That's what it's the coolest part about it is that we can just drive anywhere. Like if you're working, no problem, we'll go to your job, you know, so it's really good. And we meet with them out front, and I look at the dog, getting them ready for their haircut. I look at everything, their nails, their ears, kind of like make sure everything is okay, and that, you know, they don't have any sore spots, anything like that, so that when we start the grooming process, I'm not surprised by anything.
Besides that, it should be good.
Good. Alright, perfect. So I'm gonna get them started, and I'll send you updates on how they're doing, and send you little photos, and I'll let you know, and I'll text you when they're all ready.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. It's like orange citrus. Peppermint and that's the reason why I don't think more. Audrey, let me see. Can I see your face? Let me see. Today I got to see one of my favorite girls. Her name is Mika. She's a little Shiba Inu, and I've been grooming her since I started working at Buffalo Park West, and they request me only, which is really great. I get to see some of the same dogs sometimes, and she's one of them. She's super good for her nails. She just sits there and lets me buff her nails, like, you know, and it's like she's having a spa day. She's having a good time. You know, she's really, really good. Throughout the groom, while I'm doing my whole thing, I like to send updates to the pet parents, let them know how their dog is doing. I'll send them little pictures of them wearing, depending on the theme. Sometimes I'll put like a little ducky in her head, and like a little bubble bath. Sometimes for like Christmas time, I have lots of props in my van, and I put like props on them, you know, if anything St. Patrick's Day, stuff like that. And I send all these photos to them, and so at the end of the day, at the end of the whole grooming process, I meet with them again, and I let them know again how well their dog did, what they liked, what they didn't like, what I noticed this time around, and we always kind of encourage them to rebook with us so that we see them again, and I have this relationship with this dog, and I know the drill, and I know, hey, last time he had this, so I know everything about this dog, and you know, we're friends. We see each other every month.
It was a very brief walk. It was just
My name is Alina. I was born in Ukraine, in Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, and I came to Los Angeles to get my master's degree in business. and ended up staying here. I love spending time with my family, of course, and with my friends. I love my dog. Like, he's usually working with me. He's my partner, so I like spending a little bit of time, definitely, with my dog as well. In Ukraine, I did get my undergrad in economics, and then I worked for a couple of years before coming here to get my master's. And at that point, it felt like, after working for a couple of years, and I felt like I needed an extra credential and I needed to just continue studying. So when I applied to university in LA and got accepted to Pepperdine and came here to get my MBA. Right now I work at a software company that does shipping software. And we have several brands under our umbrella. And one of the brands also does the actual shipping, so kind of like FedEx or UPS. We're a carrier. So the brand I work with, the company I work with, is largely a software company, but my specific role, my specific brand is to do data and reporting for my brand that does shipping service. So I used to work in financial services, and specifically on it's called secondary marketing mortgage operations. So it's essentially creation of mortgage-backed securities. At some point it was a really fun and fast-paced job, and I thought that's what I wanted to do. But as a few years went by, I realized that I just felt unfulfilled. I barely saw my children, and the kids were little at the time. And it just, like, all the things kind of came together for me, where it was just, the job just felt unfulfilling and even toxic at times for me personally, and I was just looking for a change. I was able to leave the job at the time, and it felt like a good time to leave the job. I was able then to kind of take some time thinking. Within like about a year, I was applying for different jobs, and I happened to just stumble upon a very cool job, which was a project work with Google, and that kind of would lead me to think about going into tech. I saw that tech industry offered a lot more flexibility, a lot more creativity. I really liked the people. It was a pretty cool like environment to work at, and yeah, I felt like it was meeting a lot of the things I was looking for in my work. So it was a combination of more technical things and more like math. It was coding. It was developing new products or services, kind of like what I do today at my work as well. And it just felt exciting. After that job, I knew that I needed to do some extra coding. I needed to learn coding better. So that's how I ended up refocusing my career altogether and getting additional training in data science. So I ended up finding a role which was a really great combination for my business background and the technical background. So the job was in analytics. For me, I think COVID has really brought the future faster, because before COVID, a lot of companies were still uneasy with remote work. And quite frankly, the technology that enabled us to work remote is the cloud computing. So that was really kind of more like in the beginning, and COVID really pushed it forward. So cloud computing essentially exploded, right? Like at the time when COVID began, and just there was so much need for it suddenly. Because even companies who wouldn't think about having their people work remote, they had to find a way. And it had to be in the cloud, of course. So I really think COVID helped with some jobs and really improved flexibility. That's where like the new digital economy, I think, was booming after COVID, of course, and to this day some people switched, I think, for good to working wherever they want in the world, grabbing your laptop, and really if you have the skill set you can work anywhere, and doesn't matter where. So it's really cool thing. So I think COVID, from that perspective, I think for some jobs it really helped. But again, that's, I think, being in tech, I see it as a positive, but I know that COVID really was difficult for a lot of other industries, obviously, and it's rough. So. Training I did was at the General Assembly. It was a boot camp where I chose a full-time option, so you can study, you had to study for 3 months, every day, 5 days a week, kind of like going to a job basically. And then you had a ton of homework in addition to that. So really the idea is like in a very short period of time, you gain enough skills to transition to a new industry.
Do you guys have lollipops or anything?
Are you good?
Yeah. Okay.
It looks really cute.
Mick Clark has been dedicated to her tattooing career at Nate's Tattoos and Piercings for 3.5 years.
But yeah, it was after that first tattoo and starting to get a few after that I really fell in love with the experience. And I'm such a social person. I knew that, you know, running my own business wouldn't be too far off from what they were teaching me during undergrad. It's very, illustration's very commercial, you know, working with clients, you know, being a freelancer, managing your own schedule, working for magazines, things of that nature. So tattooing is really not too different from that. So I think I was able to use a lot of that information that I learned at school to inform, you know, my business practices now.
After flying out to LA at the age of 19 for her first tattoo, Mick became entranced with the craft and started her journey.
My first tattoo was an outline of a little fish that we colored in blue and gold. I have the tattoo on my leg here. I tattooed it on myself. Took maybe about 2.5 hours to do. Not only was it my first tattoo, but I was also using a pretty heavy machine. It was more of a traditional rotary machine with a tube and like a bar needle. That definitely contributed to why it took so long, just because the damn thing was so heavy. And I wasn't used to working with anything like that or drawing with anything that had quite a bit of weight to it. So it definitely took a lot longer than expected. Does it go all the way around?
Yeah, it was just like the line
maybe
also.
that's why. Yeah.
Between working 2 jobs and often 8-hour shifts as an apprentice paid in knowledge, persistence was key.
I made a time to come by like on a really busy Saturday in the summer, total midst of busy season. And I come over at like 1 o'clock. I just thought we were gonna like chat really quick, you know, but I come in, you know, it's a madhouse in here. There's like 10 people in the lobby. People are getting tattooed. There's a baby crying. He's mid-piercing someone. And he's like, Michaela, how are you? And the phone started ringing. And he was like, can you answer that? And I was like, yeah, I guess. So, you know, I answered the phone and I ended up working an 8-hour shift that day for free, mostly at the piercing counter. So it wasn't necessarily tattoo related, but I definitely got to see like how they were running the shop, you know, paperwork, interacting with clients. A lot of them couldn't even tell that I hadn't been working there, honestly. So it just felt like a really good fit.
In the end, Mick's talent and dedication earned her a place mastering her true passion, placing her in high demand at Nate's shop.
I just started showing up. I didn't even really ask if I could come by. I would just show up, even though I lived like an hour away. I was just down enough. And you know, her name was Sarah. So Sarah started showing me stuff, you know, having me set up for her, things like that. Originally the deal was, you know, she was kind of babysitting me until some other dude moved back down from Oregon to like properly teach me, because he used to have an apprentice and it didn't work out. That didn't even end up happening, you know. So she just continued to teach me until my actual mentor, Tommy, came along. He started working here. He had moved here from Colorado, Wyoming area, and he was looking at a new place to set up shop in LA since his fiance had moved down here for work. And that was it.
A unique aspect of Mick's career is her passion aligns with her craft, hence her dedication.
Just don't be scared to put the work in. For me, that meant driving an hour from where I live just because I knew this place had an opportunity for me, and it was a good opportunity, and I didn't shy away from it just because it was far. You know, I bought a car and I sucked it up, and you know, I've been commuting here and back, you know, 2 hours every day for the last 3 years, 4 or 5 days a week. And it has been extremely rewarding. And the fact that I can bring an experience to people who might not have normally felt comfortable getting tattooed in the usual tattooer setting, it makes all the difference.
Mick aspires to own her own studio in the future. Until then, she'll be honing in her craft and expanding her network at Nate's Tattoos and Piercings.
You know, definitely do your research about what shop you're walking into. What's great about the industry now is that, yes, it is relatively oversaturated, but there are so many different types of people who are tattooing now. And you'll definitely be able to, like, you know, find people that you connect with in your community who are tattooers, who are maybe lady tattooers, who are maybe gay tattooers, who are maybe non-binary tattooers, who are non-white tattooers, you know, because, you know, this industry is definitely like cis white male dominated. And, you know, potentially sometimes you might meet people who don't have your best interest in mind. And, you know, if you want it bad enough, it will come to you. It might take a few tries. And LA is a great place for that. You know, the Bay Area is a great place for that. New York, there are a lot of crazy ass tattooers over there. Texas too, you know, people are tattooing all over. And I think it's really awesome to see different tattooers who look all sorts of different ways.
You ready? Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentration.
My name is Tolik Kaminsky. Started boxing in 1982, Soviet Union, city of Lvov, west of Ukraine. I was 12 years old. Came to boxing gym. My dad bring me to boxing gym. Then I start do boxing, and I start compete. And after that, there was Physical Education Institute. Later, then there was college, sport college, another 2 years. Then I became boxing coach. Start working with different fighters, different level, different ages. So far, everything successful. Everybody happy. I'm happy. I was training a lot of students, a lot of fighters, let's say fighters. And obviously I'm gonna mention my son, David Kaminsky. I trained him from day one. He made his first fight 5 years old, and he made his last fight 21 years old. And for now, he been almost close to 100 amateur fights. We've been in national team, 12 times national champion in the United States, and the professional fighter was record 6-1, signed with top rank 17 years old. I want to mention second fighter. I have Alim Jamakhanov from 2000, I believe 10 or 9, I don't remember. So we did together another maybe 30 amateur fights, maybe a mistake, but around 30 amateur fights. Most of the fights he won. You can be no champion, but you have to be right person in your life. So world champion, it's not a goal, but right person in your life, this is the goal. From lost, when you lost the fight, you learn much more than when you win the fight. So when you're winning fight, you everything good, everybody happy, you don't learn any mistake, you just go forward. When you lost the fight, okay, what mistake I did, what I did wrong, what camp was wrong, what training camp was wrong. So I have to change my mistake and go forward, and next fight gonna win. So life is short, so we have to be nice, honest, loyal, and disciplined. No drugs, no alcohol, no play too much. But everybody, look, this is a grown man. I'm not saying I'm perfect. No way. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. If like I said, I did a lot of mistakes in my life, and I pay for this mistake. Big price. I live from today to tomorrow. It says, yesterday it's gone. Tomorrow it's never come. For today, I'm okay. So this thing, this is my rules. This I have tattoo on my hand. It was says that.
20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name. He doesn't need his name up in light.
Although there was a lot of Armenians in California, there wasn't a very strong connection. You didn't know much about your past and what history Armenians have. I started singing and dancing around 9 years old when I would watch America's Got Talent with my father. I would see that there was beautiful singing and amazing choreography, and in my head I'm like, that can be me, because it was just so beautiful, and I really thought that I can do that. I want to be that person. When we moved to Texas, the Armenian population was very low in my school and in my community. I didn't have as much as Armenian friends as I did in California. I would think, where are the Armenians? I'm the only Armenian in the whole school. Once we moved into Texas, and we found out about St. Sarkis Armenian Orthodox Church, and we found out that there's dancing and a school there. Since in California I went to Dynamic Dance Studio, I decided I wanted to continue dancing, but do professional Armenian dancing. It really shows you about your past and your history. If you were dancing, you feel that the Armenian culture, you're dancing the Armenian culture and singing. Some people may not understand Armenian and people just sing English, but you know your language, you're speaking your language, and it's just beautiful. At St. Sarkis, I joined the Armenian school. So I joined and I learned how to read and write and speak more fluently in Armenian. With singing and dancing, my achievements were, first of all, the Outstanding Soloist Award I had gotten. My teacher said I should join a judging competition where the judges would judge you and they would tell you the opportunities for you, what you need to work on, and what level your voice is at. I had won and got the Outstanding Soloist Award, and that got me my trophy. My dancing, we got to go to the we did the Armenian Festival, which got to show everyone Armenian dancing and maybe to bring their children and learn about the Armenian dancing and how to dance it. Armenian professional dance, where one is very elegant and another one is very exciting. with very interesting movements, and you just feel the Armenian culture. And once you're at that festival, you just feel that you're Armenian. You're just surrounded by all the history, the culture, the food, everything. The Armenian festival just says it all. I want to learn more about singing and dancing of Armenian culture. I want to look more into it and find more about my history. It's just so interesting how there's just this whole past behind you and you don't even know about it. Things to explore and to learn. You just want to know who you are, what being Armenian is about. I'm hoping to show the world what being Armenian is, how to dance it, how to sing it, and just for the whole world to recognize Armenians.
Hi, my name is Jervis Aguinaldo, and I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. What inspired me to join the Navy was mainly my dad. He was a commercial seaman in the Philippines, and I wanted to do something similar. And I also wanted to travel the world. My specialty while I was serving is that I was an ABH. That's an aviation boatswain's mate handler. I served for 5 years, and I was stationed in Yokosuka, Japan. I'd say the most challenging part about boot camp was it having to be a new experience. You know, I haven't left home, and that was the first time, so it was a completely new thing for me. A typical day while I was deployed would look like it would just be me waking up and then going to brush my teeth and then going straight to work, and I would go on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier, and we would launch and recover aircrafts for probably around 12 to 17 hours a day. And then after that, you get off, I could go to the gym and go to bed, and then repeat the same thing for the next 6 months.
What's a moment from your service that stands out the most?
I'd say the moments that stood out the most for me was arriving at a new country or even U.S. territories for the first time, and just seeing a very foreign land that is kind of just waiting for you to explore.
There you go. I can see the bottom. Bro, go down, bro. Huh? Can you just go down? Is it waterproof? Yeah. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. I don't want to open my eyes with the water. I know. I'm sitting on it. That's not good.
Voices in the air, hear 'em loud and clear, telling me to listen. Whispers in my ear, nothing can compare. I just wanna listen.
As my world turns, the heart beats, not only in my chest, but the heart in the street. So when they feel this, they feel me. But I can't feel nothing outside these Dre beats. I am from the city of evil, came from the top, standing on top. I was supposed to be my coffin. What's up? Exception shows me as a dead man walking. Shows this kid still
you getting to work
got it.
today?
You know, I got the throne like I don't know if there's a kid.
I'm close. Wow.
And anyone on my level that's coming in my spot for the top, let them have it, cause when I leave, the whole world drops. Lace up, kill.
What was the transition to civilian life like for you?
The transition to civilian life was not that difficult. I would say it kind of just went from a fast-paced to a very slow-paced life. I'd say the hardest part was probably getting used to not seeing friends every day, and yeah, but it's good to be home.
What advice would you give to someone considering joining the Navy?
My advice to somebody joining the Navy would be, it's what you make it to be. Everything that you do in the Navy, there's going to be things that sucks, there's going to be things that that are good, but it's what you make it out to be, so it's completely up to you.
I'm Matthew Asner.
And I'm Nava Paskowitz Asner.
We're the founders of the Ed Asner Family Center. And the Ed Asner Family Center is a center here in Los Angeles that provides arts enrichment, day programs, camps, mental health services to special needs individuals and their families.
And Matt and I started the Ed Asner Family Center inspired by our own 6 children, 4 autistic, and it was very important to us that we leave a legacy for our beloved grandfather Ed, and so we named the center after Ed, of course, and we wanted to find a place where special needs families could feel included and have something for everyone.
People with special needs hear the word no a lot. They are used to hearing the word no. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that.
Or he'll never do that.
Or he'll never do that, or she'll never do that. It's all just negative words. And we wanted to be a place where people heard the word yes. We wanted to be a place where we heard, you can do that. Yes, you can do that. Sure, let's try and do that. We wanted to create something that wasn't there. And that's exactly what we did.
We wanted so much to have opportunities hiring autistic people, making sure that all of our programs are co-taught and co-created by autistic individuals brings an authenticity to all of our programs, but it also, for us as parents of autistic children, we hope that somebody else out there would hire our own children.
I had been in leadership at 2 other organizations, and Nava and I had talked about creating a center where we did the things we're doing now, and she kind of pushed me into doing it. And that's why we do it. That's why we do what we do.
Well, at the center, we really want to try to have support for the entire special needs family. So right now, our focus is our adult day program. It's a 5-day-a-week program, full day, and it's been the most successful program we've ever had. We also have mental health services for the entire special needs family. Sometimes it's the siblings, sometimes it's the grandparents, caregivers, and so there's always something happening. After school enrichments. So if they're not old enough to go to our academy, a lot of our kids come to our after school enrichments, and we have everything from robotics to art to improv to acting classes to yoga, cooking, just something for everyone. I think when you're in the world of special needs, you feel very isolated, and it's a way of people really joining a kind of a tribe and feeling like they're not alone.
For Dutch apple pie, guys!
They're our family, we're their family, they're each other's family. This is a strong, strong place of support for anyone who comes here. So yeah, no, we have like 4 or 5 events a year that we do to raise funds here because we count on funds from the public to survive. We're a nonprofit. And so last night we had our Funko celebrity auction where a bunch of celebrities sign their own Funkos and we auction them off. And we have people like Tom Hanks and Keanu Reeves, and Bryan Cranston.
I was just going to say.
And we've done quite well. This is our 4th year, and we're excited to do it every year.
Some of our programs are not the right fit for their child, but I never just say to a parent who calls me, oh, okay, well, I can't help you, and hang up. It's my job to kind of help them and direct them the way when I was just starting out and I was kind of lost. I had other mentors who have been in this world a lot longer than me help direct me and Eddie. So I think it's really important that parents reach out to us and let us help you and help find a good fit for your child.
Some of the greatest people I know are autistic and are the people that we serve. I love them. They're amazing people.
And some of our own children.
Some of our own children.
Most of our children.
Yeah. You can go to teafc.org and check us out there on the web. Or you can call us and
808-302-0712.
Awesome.
I heard you.
808.
Did I say 808?
Yeah.
Come to Hawaii.
It's not Hawaii.
Give us a call at 818-302-0712.
Sons of Thunder really began years ago. My brothers and I used to sing and play together growing up. My dad's a pastor. We grew up in the church and developing our craft. But Sons of Thunder actually began in 2022. Although previously we had different names and different bands that we played with. In 2022, Miel San Marcos came to Los Angeles and they were looking for a choir band of people that can help them with their recording of Evangelio. So there we were, a whole bunch of kids that were passionate, a whole bunch of people that were passionate about worship, passionate about music, passionate about seeing the glory of God through worship. And when they called us, it really woke up a sleeping giant in us. We were able to really experience worship in such a large magnitude. I think there were over 20,000 people there. And that's where Sons of Thunder was really born. We decided to put something together. My brothers, David, Israel, and I decided to do something for ourselves. So Sons of Thunder became a family. It became a vision of unity. It became a vision of coming together. So there are actually people from all over Southern California. It's a collective group of worship leaders and singers from all over the churches of Southern California, from San Diego to Palmdale, from Montclair to Bel Air to Bellflower. There's singers from all over the place. And it's really amazing to see what Sons of Thunder has done, what God has done with Sons of Thunder, the doors that God has opened with Sons of Thunder. And God has given us a voice and a message to be able to impact this generation. You know, when the doctor said 30 to 90 days to live, God said, no, I have eternal life, everlasting life. And we believed it. I thank God for my mother. I thank God for the family that God put around me, my brothers. We really believed in God. And that's where Sons of Thunder was born. In 2022, Sons of Thunder really becomes this powerhouse music ministry. And the music that we are singing today was actually written at a writing camp, a Sons of Thunder camp. We invited some of our choir members and we decided to go away. And while Los Angeles was on fire, while we had Palisades, Altadena, the Eaton fire, and all this that happened in Los Angeles, while that was going on, Sons of Thunder decides to go on a trip, on a camp. We rented an Airbnb and we decided to really go into the presence of God and really go into these lyrics and go into a moment of worship. And it was so beautiful seeing how different people gave different lines, different melodies. So from Su Voz to Te Necesito to all these songs that we're going to be singing today to King of Glory, it was a collective unit of members from our choir, of our musicians coming together and believing God for what God has today. LA Rise, it's here. We're here, you guys. LA Rise. LA Rise is that. Levántate, Los Angeles. Get up. Get up out of the grave. Get up. Get up. You know, LA Rise is a vision of, again, of unity, of bringing the body of Christ together to impact the young people. Now, LA Rise was a collective decision of making a movement for our youth, making something powerful happen in our city. We believe that we have been called to be worshipers in spirit and in truth, and we believe that we're living in times, in prophetic times, where the glory of God is going to descend. So LA Rise is the beginning, is the step of faith in believing that God is going to do something with this generation. I believe that Generation Z is the generation that is going to make the biggest impact in the history of the world. I believe that the anointing and the mantle that is over this generation is by far one of the most powerful, and I'm beginning. So LA Rise is that, you know, all the vendors that are outside right now that have been sharing their talents, You know, it was a vision of that. It was a vision of coming together in order to impact our community, to impact the young people, to let them know that there is a way out of drugs, to let them know that there is a way out of old habits, of lifestyle that is not pleasing to God. And we all obviously are getting ready for our concert tonight. I don't know if anybody out there is ready. But LA Rises, that is a vision of freedom. It's a vision of us standing up and becoming the men and women of God that God has called us to be. So today, I invite you guys to give freedom to God. I invite you guys to be free in worship. I invite you guys to really, really enjoy the moment that God has for us. And we have come together for the sole fact to lift the name of Jesus and for the glory of God to descend over a generation that is hungry for the glory of God. So we are excited for tonight. We are so excited to see what God is going to do tonight. I don't know if anybody out there is ready. I don't know if you guys are ready. I am so excited to see what God is going to do. We have Jasmine Vera in the house, you guys. We have Greta Armenta, and we have Melody Adorno here today, ready to lift the name of the Lord. Bring your best worship. Bring the best you got. I want you to be free. I want you to feel like this is the day that God created for us to be free and to really bask in the glory that God has ready for us today.